Hello, hi, hola. How is everyone doing today? Tylo here. Which weapon should you choose in Monster Hunter World and why? This or those are two questions that I get asked a lot on my live streams. Speaking on those, by the way, guys, if you like Monster Hunter streams or Monster Hunter in general, and you want to participate in our live streams, be sure to subscribe. I do live streams almost every single day, especially of Monster Hunter World. So, yeah. With that said, which weapon should you choose and why in Monster Hunter World? I'm not gonna lie, I don't think this is that simple of a question to answer, but at the same time, I also don't think it's that hard. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of weapons, and there are somewhat classified within either heavy weapons, mobile and agile weapons, melee or ranged weapons, heavy hitting weapons, agile but that do a lot of DPS weapons as well. So at the end of the day, you do have a lot of options to choose from. Sometimes that's good for some people, and sometimes that's bad for some people as well. Because when we do have a lot of options, usually we get undecided, or we can't really decide for which weapon you want to choose or which weapon we want to go for. And well, at the end of the day, this game is not that bad. And the reason why is, even though you might choose a weapon in the beginning of the game, you can always change it out throughout your, gameplay. Because at the end of the day, weapons are not specifically... Oh, that was a great dodge by me. I straight up just dashed the supernova. That was sick, I think. I think that was the supernova. Well, nonetheless, I digress. So yeah, you can always just change the weapon mid-gameplay. So the reason why is because they are not specifically classes or archetypes that you choose for your character. You have your own character which can use every single weapon in the game. So at the end of the day, it becomes a question of which weapon do you love using, or which weapon do you think you would love using more, right? What is the weapon that you think it's more likable to you? What is your playstyle? How would you think, or how do you think you would enjoy the game more? So I think the real question in reality is that. And the reason, again, why I think that is the real question, and it's pretty much because you can always change the weapon. So basically, if you go and hunt monsters and you go throughout the story of the game, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which weapon you use, because you can always build or upgrade new weapons. It doesn't matter if it's a bow, if it's a dual blades, if it's a great sword, if it's long sword, if it's a hammer. It doesn't matter. You can always change the weapon whenever you feel like changing the weapon. So at the end of the day, you are not really committing to one single weapon throughout the whole game. You can most definitely do that. Most of the gamers that actually play, or the players that actually play Monster Hunter World usually do that. They found like the weapon that they are really into, they really enjoy using, and it fits their playstyle, right? So it makes their gameplay probably better, but at the same time more enjoyable for them. Having that said, the real question that you have to ask is, which weapon do you like more? Or do you think you would like more to play with? Or which weapon do you think it would make your gameplay better, or in general it would make you enjoy more Monster Hunter World than you already expected to enjoy, right? At the end of the day, I really think it comes down to that. There's not, I wouldn't say there's a big like Giga Chad OP weapon in the game. I think all of the weapons have their strengths and weaknesses that you have to either exploit or learn, right? If they're really strong on something, you should really focus on that something and try to get better at it, right? If they're really weak on doing certain other things, then you shouldn't probably focus on those. You should just try to compensate with the strong points of the weapon, those said weaknesses, right? So that's why I said also ask yourself, which type of gameplay do you enjoy more? Is it are you like more into mobile and agility type of weapons? Are you more into like heavy hitting weapons that are also heavy so you don't have that much mobility? Are you more into melee weapons? Are you more into ranged weapons? Like, what is your playstyle? How do you enjoy playing these types of games more? I would start from there and I would go from there. Let's suppose, right, that you like melee weapons instead of ranged weapons. Okay, sure. Within the melee weapons, do you like to have more mobility? Well, that's perfect. You have two weapons that I would really suggest using. Either dual blades, you have like really high mobility. When you are there's a certain mechanic which is the demon mode, I think that's what's called. When you are in demon mode, you don't really roll, you dash, so you do have certain different types of mobility as well. It's easy to create weaknesses in monsters. It's easy to learn. The skills are awesome, the animations are awesome, and the DPS is really high. So that's certainly one of the, if not the main weapon for people that enjoy mobility or high mobility in these sorts of games, which is actually the weapon that I'm using. So if you're not from the community and you don't already know, I'm a huge dual blade fan in general. Dual blades is definitely my favorite weapon in the whole game. Although I do enjoy a lot of other weapons with a lot of other different types of skills or gameplay. For example, greatsword. I love greatsword. I do enjoy playing from now and again ranged weapons. For example, I'm currently doing on my live streams a second run of the game with only bow. So yeah, that tells you something. But yeah, besides the dual blades, if you rather keep the mobility, but not specifically, you're not a fan of dual blades, for example, you can always go for IG. IG is Insect Glaive. It's another weapon that has really high mobility, not only on ground, but also airborne. You have a lot of skills that you can utilize airborne wise. I can't personally like talk much about it because I did try it out. I did use it a couple of times, but it never connected to me. Like it never really, you know, did it for me. I do have a lot of let's say members in the community that do enjoy Insect Glaive. My best buddy also enjoys a lot Insect Glaive. Personally, myself, I rather stay on the ground and just use my dual blades. I think it just looks cooler. It feels better. They are easy, really easy to use and understand the mechanics behind it. So yeah. But let's suppose that you love like heavy hitting weapons. Okay, I have two suggestions I can make for you. Either hammer. I also have a lot of people that play hammer in the community. I've seen a lot. I've tried it myself. It feels so damn good to use a hammer. One thing that it's kind of comical and it's totally a meme is that even if you have like a certain mechanic which is like sharpening your blades, even though it's a hammer, you still have to sharpen your hammer plate apparently, which I think it's pretty fun. I think it's really enjoyable. But yeah, moving on. Again, I'm digressing. Another heavy hitting weapon, which I think it might be like in that class, so to speak. I think it might be the favorite on the community, is the greatsword. Greatsword has its learning curve. I'm not gonna lie. It is easy to understand the mechanics, but it's really hard to actually get good at those said mechanics. But at the end of the day, I can tell you one thing: when you do get better, and when you do start hitting some fucking, you know, heavy slashes with a greatsword, the weapon is one of the most like creates one of the most sense of like rewarding feelings that you could ever ask for. So when it comes to heavy weapons, in my personal opinion, again, this is about you, what do you enjoy, what do you would like to choose and what you would like to use and what you think it's better for you in terms of like gameplay wise. But in my personal opinion, if I were to choose like a heavy weapon, I would definitely go for greatsword. It feels so good to use it. It's just when you actually, like, for example, hit the monster in the face, bro, it's just, I mean, the stagger and the hitting monster in the face with the hammer, it's also a really good feeling. But I don't know what it is. Greatsword is just, to me, it connected, you know, it connected. But yeah, moving on. Let's suppose that you still like melee weapons, but you like to have a shield. You like to have a counter, like a skill that could counter a monster attack instead of just slashing and hammering with a hammer, you know. You would like to have a counter attack skill, and if you do, and you are into that type of gameplay, I suggest going for Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield has a little bit more high mobility, comparing to other two that that it's coming up to my mind right now, which is Lance and the biggest, I think the most lovable weapon of all in my entire community, which is Charge Blade. Charge Blade, I personally liked using myself as well. But if I would have to choose, again, I would probably choose higher mobility, which is Sword and Shield. But in terms of actually liking the gameplay and using the weapon, I think I would choose Charge Blade. Charge Blade just feels really good. It's probably the hardest weapon and the most difficult weapon to learn in the entire game, I'm not gonna lie. But once you do learn the skills and learn the skill sets and learn how to use a charge plane properly, my goodness gracious, you will just destroy anything in your path. It's just, I don't want to spoil anything in terms of skill sets and animations and all that, because I think it's part of the journey of, you know, using a charge blade and actually enjoying using a charge blade. It's to, you know, see how it works, see the animations itself, and just go like, bro, this is, god damn, this is so cool. You know what I mean? So I don't want to spoil anything for you. I don't want to spoil anything for you in that regard. But yeah, from my personal experience, I think again, you want to be speedy, have a high agility, have some sort of shield to do like a counter attack or something like that. Go for Sword and Shield. I really think that's the best option. If not, and you just want to be a Giga Chad and you know, do shit ton of damage while having a, you know, again, a counter attack with a shield or something, definitely go for Charge Blade. Oh, also, if you want to challenge yourself to, like, you know, be better at something, in this case at this game, and while you learn the game itself, learn the weapon, I definitely suggest Charge Blade as well. It's a very, very skilled weapon in general. As I mentioned, I think it's probably the most difficult one to actually master. So if you do want to challenge yourself, and you like challenging yourself with the, let's say, high difficulty stuff, either it is tasks or learning a game or learning a weapon in this case, bro, I suggest, yeah, Charge Blade definitely the way to go. Alrighty? Again, guys, this is just my personal opinion. I think, again, I'm just talking about why I chose the weapon that I chose, why I decided to try out other weapons, because at the end of the day, the core question, in my opinion, is what is the weapon that you think you would love using it, and what is the weapon that you think it combines better with your playstyle, so you can enjoy more of the game than you would normally do if you try to use a different playstyle from what you actually like to play in these types of games. Pardon me. Last but not least, let's suppose you like ranged weapons. For me, ranged weapons, what can I say? If I would say that I have like a favorite ranged weapon nowadays, after trying out the bow, I would say it's the bow. I think it's again really cool. I think it's very similar to dual blades style of gameplay style, but it's a ranged one. So I would definitely have to choose bow. At the same time, though, I still like very much light bowgun and heavy bowgun. I think the reason why it's because they are unique in their own in their own ways. At the end of the day, I think light bowgun is just a mixture of heavy bowgun with bow. I'm not gonna lie, I think it's just a mixture. I think at the end of the day, light bowgun is kind of short in terms of like a weapon uniqueness in general. I think they kind of fell short on that. Because if you do want to try out light bowgun, I suggest also trying out heavy bowgun, because you're probably going to enjoy more the light bowgun, the heavy bowgun, because the heavy bowgun can do all of the things that the light bowgun can do, but more and better, if that makes any sense. I'm not gonna get into it because you have a lot when it comes to ranged weapons, especially heavy bowgun. You can modify your heavy bowgun. You have several different types of ammos that you can use. Some of them are garbage, some of them are extremely overpowered. So yeah, I'm not gonna go into that, but if you want to try out light bowgun, I suggest also trying out heavy bowgun and not the other way around. If you just want to try out heavy bowgun and go for it and just straight up try heavy bowgun, I think that makes total sense. I still suggest trying out other weapons, because you never know when one of the other weapons that you haven't tried it and before, and you try it now, will actually connect with you, you know, and you'll just go like, okay, this makes sense and this is good. I'm enjoying this. So I always suggest, actually, you know what, what I think is the way to go with this game is, you get into the game, right? You think, okay, this is my playstyle and this is what I usually like using, so I'm gonna use this. Try out for like a couple of quests and see if it actually connects with you. Probably it will. But after that, try out other different weapons just to see if you have a second or a third option. You know what I mean? Like, for example, have a melee option and then have a ranged option. Because without trying to spoil anything, you will probably have certain monsters and certain quests that are better to use ranged than melee. So yeah, I do recommend, and again, this is just from my experience with the game. I have 400 and something hours in the game already at this point in time. I tried pretty much all of the weapons. Oh, that was a claw, bro. That was a clutch claw kill. That's so funny. I'm reacting in chat to the other player. By the way, that's a random player. I just shot a SOS fire thingy on the beginning of the quest, and yeah, this guy showed up. But yeah, at the end of the day, after trying out the weapon that you thought it would be the one for you, probably is going to connect. So, you know, you will enjoy it in general. But even if you do, if you don't enjoy it, just try out other weapons. Again, you can always switch mid-gameplay, right? Mid-story. You don't really have to commit to a weapon. It's probably going to be better for your gameplay wise, because you're learning the game itself. So trying to learn other weapons while you're also trying to learn the game in general is just kind of, it might be confusing or overwhelming for some people in general. I'm telling you, it was for me. It was for me. I only tried to learn other weapons more towards the end game in general than rather trying it out throughout the game. I mostly did my first run ever in the game with DBs only, because yeah, for me, trying to learn other weapons while trying to learn the game, because at the end of the day, this game does have a lot of things you have to understand in terms of mechanics. For example, this is one of it, which are decorations. So yeah, I suggest staying with one, but I also just suggest going for other weapons and trying out other weapons, because you never know when another weapon is going to connect with you. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do, please don't forget, leave a like, share it with a friend, and most importantly, I hope you guys stay well, be well, stay safe, and have a blessed one. As usual, peace.